All right. Let me just double check that we are live. And yes, we are live.
Hello.
Oops.
Thank
Sorry.
you. Hello, everyone.
Hey.
It's great to be here.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I am totally recharged. I've been in Key West for the last week. So that was really nice. I did work while I was there and a little bit, but yeah, it's great to be back. It's great to take a fresh look at a project that I started for New York World Tour, which is what this presentation is about. It's a deeper dive into what I presented in New York. So yeah,
Nice.
doing good.
How was New York?
It was wonderful. So great to see people in person. You know, it's always wonderful to be face to face with some of our community members and some of my students. It's always great for, them to come up and say, hey, it's me. And I have to, okay, which class was that? Oh, yeah. And then I can remember. So that's always so nice to have that opportunity to see not only students, but community members and staff members that we work with virtually all the time. So World Tour was great. Dreamforce is right on our heels in September. So get your registrations in. Registration opened up. So
Yeah.
it's
Are you speaking?
Actually, I have a conflict and I am unable to make it this year. So it's a bit challenging for me to get to the West Coast sometimes because I'm on the East Coast. But
yeah.
So I will be cheering you all on once again from Salesforce Plus. But not this year. It will happen, I know, at some point in time.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
So, and we're getting people. Hi, Shubham. Hi, Waju. From Virginia. Awesome.
Excellent.
How is the weather where you are? Because here it's getting hot.
You know, it's funny because it was pretty warm for a few days while we were out of town and we came back, and now it's been rainy and kind of cool in the mountains. I'm in the mountains, so we've got, the elevation. And so in regards to that, it's a little bit cooler, rainy day. You can kind of see from my office, it's a little, overcast. Usually it's pretty bright behind me. But those are the days that is really good to do stuff inside. I'm not drawn to try to get outside,
Yeah.
So, Ola from Spain. Who is that from Spain? You're coming in as a LinkedIn user. I wonder who that is. Identify yourself.
Hello.
Columbus, Ohio. Excellent. Virginia. I bet Virginia is probably a lot like my weather. You having rain in Virginia? Namaste from India. Yes.
Awesome.
Very cool.
So, what are we going to do today?
Today, we're going to talk about capturing KPIs with the Metrics Toolkit. And then, of course, the Metrics Toolkit is a MuleSoft application. So that's how that will work. I'll show you where that is, how to get it. It's free. It's not, I'll share some details about that. And then I'm going to use MuleSoft Composer to trigger off the flow to capture the KPIs and also to send notifications in Slack. And then also this data is connected to Tableau. So I've got the basic dashboard that comes with the metrics toolkit that I'm going to show you that's, that I'm using in Tableau. So it's crossing MuleSoft, Slack, Tableau, and Composer. I should have added Composer to the title too. So that's what we're going to do. We ready to go ahead and kick off, you think?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. All right. Where this came from is, I teach the platform architect class, and we talk about the importance of having metrics, and metrics tell a story. they'll track our growth. We can see if the platform's being adopted, if we're adopting API-led connectivity principles, and if it's improving our productivity. Are we seeing an increase, or I should say a shorter amount of time to market, and we're seeing, that some of our fragments are being used to speed up the developer process and to have standardization. So these dynamic KPI dashboards, we advocate doing this for the C4E, and we talk about it as part of the piece of that class. But also, I throw the challenge out there because it's just a start. I've had people ask me in class, that's great. So where do we get this information from? Okay, so we need these KPIs. They're there because I can tell you all day long a great story about how well we're doing on the project. And, we're building out these assets and everything's looking good. More developers are being certified, which is another thing that can be tracked. Excuse me one second. Which is another thing that can be tracked. So there's many things that can be tracked through this. I'll share with you some of the KPIs. And so instead of just me, trying to impress the stakeholders, of what's happening, this is factual evidence. Numbers tell a story. They don't lie. They hopefully will tell a good story, but there are times when they don't tell a good story. And so you need, as the lead architect or even as lead developer, do corrective action quickly to make sure that you're on track. So there's so many facets of this that are very helpful. So we do actually will be using MuleSoft Composer, the Tableau dashboards, Slack notifications to let the stakeholders know, hey, there's a new dashboard ready, and they can go see the dashboard once it's available. So we jump in and use all of these products. I'm going to click through this a little bit quicker. The metrics toolkit, going to show you where that is, Composer, the Tableau dashboards, and Slack. It is actually a Mule application. It will interact with the Anypoint Platform APIs. And again, when I'm teaching, I emphasize the importance of those Anypoint Platform APIs. They're a unique group of APIs that are how we make automation and integrations happen. Okay, when we log on to Anypoint Platform, we log on and we have a graphical interface and we can click and click and click. But under the hood, what's happening is you're hyperlinking over to those Anypoint Platform APIs. And so that's how a lot of this is happening. The metrics toolkit pulls metrics from Exchange, Design Center, Runtime Manager, Access Management, and then you can add also some data that you extract even from your team, like number of team members, things like that. So it's going to bring us a lot of different information together for us as well. And then the Composer is used as, well, of course, the Mule application is deployed to Runtime Manager. I added a proxy to it. And then Composer will take that and grab that and interact with that. Okay. And that's where I'll share with you some details in regards to why I chose to use Composer. Because in the hyperautomation pieces, as we're talking about hyperautomation, there's going to be reasons that will drive you to using one product or another. So I could have done a lot of this just in MuleSoft if I wanted to. But there's a reason I chose to use Composer. Okay. And then I brought in Tableau. Now, this application also supports communicating with Splunk as well. And so there are some built-in dashboards already that you can use. You'd have to interact with Splunk. There's also some other features that it's set up to be used for. And then I wanted to have Slack. Slack has become our go-to thing. It's actually been improved all the more for new features. I was just blown away at World Tour at some of the things that Slack is going to do for us that I haven't even incorporated into this yet. So exciting times. This is a starting point. This is a starting point of this journey. So in using this metrics toolkit, I'm going to give you the hyperlink. It is free to use. It is an unlicensed software. Okay, so when I tell you that, what I mean is that there are some elements to it that you want to take ownership of. Okay, because the support team will help you to some degree, but you need to actually take ownership of this, and I'll show you the link for that. So there's some details, CRM Analytics, Splunk, Elk, MongoDB. So there it interacts with, and you can set it up to be a part of integrating with some of that as well. So let me grab some of the resources that I have here for you so that I can share where this is. And I organized it, but now I can't find it. Isn't that like real life or live world coverage? Okay,
Yep.
GitHub. We want to start in GitHub, and I'm going to put this in the chat here.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a way of putting this? I didn't log in. I don't think that I did. Let me give it to you in Slack. Alex,
Yep.
if you want to bounce it over for me, that's good. There you go. Okay, so this is in GitHub, and it comes in under MuleSoft Catalyst Metrics Toolkit. It's a jar file. You come in here, and of course, you can, however you want to get it into your system, you can get it in. You can either clone it or just download the zip. That's what I did. I downloaded the zip. That was just easier for me. And once you get it into your system, into Studio, I'll show you the import of what that looks like. But I want to look at the table of contents with you first. And this is where you'll see it's an unlicensed software. Consider that. MuleSoft Professional Services will kind of help you with it a little bit. You can contact them because they have done some promotional videos and things like that to explain more of the details. It is not a how-to video, though. It's more about, what it can do for you. And so be sure to read, check these out. In the hour window of time we have, I don't have time to go into a lot of the details that they do talk about here, but you can see that, oh, a commercial came on. Okay, we're not going to go there then. You can see that there, once again, the fun stuff of live videos. You can see the metrics that this will pull. It will pull over 100 different metrics in different categories. Some are considered to be in the operational metrics. Some are considered to be, some of the platform details that you might need. So, and then some of them will be considered to be a category of both. But I share that with you to say that mine is set up on the platform metrics. The operational metrics is the one I chose to do. I'm going to be tying in the other one, but for presentational purposes, I started with that one. And you have two modes you can choose to work with. You can either use the Polar, that's part of the feature of the Mule application, or you can have it be just a regular API, which is what I chose to use in my case, because I wanted to bring it into Composer and control the frequency I wanted that polling to be using, so that I handled that a little differently. And in here, it'll tell you the details of the different products that are here that it will give you output for, and also included in the jar file, in the package itself, the zip file, are the pre-configured Tableau dashboard, MongoDB, Splunk, Elk. So it's really, really very comprehensive. I mean, hats off to the developers of this. You can scroll down here and see all of the different metrics you can pull in: active users, inactive users, assets, fragments used, on and on and on, for runtime, for Cloud Hub, Runtime Fabric, standalone, MQ. It's comprehensive. There's some details here for us to work with. Now, I don't know about Cloud Hub 2. I've had people ask me about that. I've not tested it, but I will. I will test that and kind of give you an idea of how that will play out. So what this looks like in Studio, once it's imported in, there were a few bugs I had to address.
Are you supposed to be sharing your screen?
Yes.
You're not sharing it.
Oh my goodness, at all?
No.
Oh my word. All right, let's see. Chrome tab. Window, entire screen. Yeah, I was showing stuff. Okay, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, very good. So just to review just a little bit, there is give this one really quick. some of the details about the metrics toolkit and the journey in which we are taking for this one. So where I'm at now is going over where it is in GitHub. And so be sure to check that out also, and also share the link for the Friends of Max video that does cover some of the, informational side of this. Okay, so thanks, Alex. Thanks. So as we go down there, I wanted to address the table of contents, emphasizing about the licensing on this and the data that we can extract. Again, two modes that can be used for this, the Polar or the using it as an API, which is what I chose to do. And it comes loaded with different options that you have here. And like I said, all of the data on the table of contents, you can scroll down and see all of the data that this captures for you. Okay, so there's quite a bit here. And as we go into Studio, I imported this into Studio. There were a couple things I had to fix. I'd have to go back. What I'll do is I plan to go back and import it fresh and refresh my memory of what I needed to change. There was actually an error on something that I think it was actually a data weave expression that was failing. So at any rate, I fixed that, got it working, and was able to run it locally. When you run it locally for the specific data that it is needing, you can get your results locally. I used Advanced REST Client. Let me zip this up just a little bit here, kind of hiding a password there. And this is actually running it off of the proxy here. But when you run it in local mode before you deploy it to Cloud Hub, it brings back all of this data that you can use. Active members in each of the environments for the entire platform account if you'd like, or you could narrow it down. There is a way to narrow it down to a specific organization, line of business if you wanted to. So you have that ability to control where you're actually grabbing this data from. Okay, but it's showing the policies that are applied. It's showing what environment that some of the APIs are in. There's the sandbox environment. It shows the vCore usage even. It's just, like I said, very comprehensive and quite a bit here. I'm going to point out just a few things in here for you, but where it has the dashboards, also Postman collections are down there. Elk, Splunk, and Tableau. It's already created. A basic dashboard is already created here for you. Splunk, it has some of the details here for you, and for Elk. So very nice work here. I worked off of Tableau. My mission is to learn more about Tableau. I've taken a couple courses already, and I'm loving it. I've got 2 courses next week, so I'm going to be brushing up more and bringing more to this whole project from that. So anyway, it comes equipped with what you need here. What I did is took it and I deployed it to Runtime Manager. And of course, it worked fine there. No problems there. I turned around and managed it with API Manager. So here it is as an app running. Not going to show you too much there other than it's recently been hit. And then I, in turn, managed it with API Manager so I could secure it with a policy. And so basically, I put basic authentication on it, so that when I made a connected app, I could go ahead and use it within Salesforce as well. So that's the next stop on this journey, is to go to Access Management. I connected into Salesforce, connected apps, connected into Salesforce, got my client ID and client secret details here to be able to communicate in with Salesforce. And then from there, the next stop on the journey was to start building out Composer. Now, I could have created a flow in Salesforce to do some other activities that I have plans for, to actually take some of the data and manipulate and do comparisons. And that's to come. That's part of the hyperautomation. Hyperautomation, when we do that class, is where we actually use flows, use flow orchestration, and then use Composer. But I didn't do that in mine in particular. What I did instead is I went ahead and used Composer, and I had to create the relationship with Composer to authenticate in and bring in my API. So in Composer, this is where I handled how I wanted to trigger this flow, because I'm going to have different intervals of my polling that I'm going to use for different audiences. All right. So for example, whether I really do this ultimately or not is to be determined. But for example, I might want to have my developers getting their dashboard information maybe more frequently. And so this one is triggered to run more often. This one's set to trigger to run every 15 minutes. I might change that to daily or something like that. It might not be necessary. But in Composer, you set a trigger, and then you set, how we want to, what API we're going to do, what HTTP request are we sending in. And so you configure this out and give the path. Mine is I'm using the component of the platform metrics here. And so then I give it the information that it needs. And now this is also going to be getting the data, activating that API to get the data that we need. And then from here, once that has ran, now it will place the current JSON file that we retrieve from this into a folder location. And I've got plans for that too. So every step along the way, I'm like, it does this now, but I want to do this next. And what I plan to do with that data, so it's going to be like, there's going to be part 2 and part 3, is I plan to put that in a database because I want to do comparisons. Now it is currently saving it in a folder here, dashboard data folder here. So it's currently saving it in a dashboard folder. But and Tableau is taking it from this folder. So it's okay right now, but I have plans because I want to query. I want to query on different things, different key names, to do alerts off of those key names if we're not meeting a targeted criteria, things like that. So anyway, more to come. And then here is where I tie into using a Slack message to the dev channel. So again, this is coming into my dev channel here. I didn't label it as dev channel. It's just metrics toolkit. Okay. And so they're getting, a notification. The dashboard's been updated. Go check it out. And what that looks like on the Tableau side is this is the published version of that dashboard. Now, this can be updated. This is just the basic dashboard that you get with this jar file, the zip file that comes into this. And so they can come here and see it's just it'll change from the different frequencies that you want to have it ran if you want it updated. Sometimes we will only want that update to be in our area in which we're using it. So you can choose whether it's updated for their public view of it when you publish it to the Tableau server, and retain what information you want to have out there as you're going through it. So there is a little bit of control on some of that as you're working with it. So as we're, this one in particular, actually, I think this one was I captured the previous version of it, and then I let it update to the updated version of it. All right, so there are actually two different, this one's a monthly run, and this one was the previous run. So when we're looking at the Tableau dashboard, and I'm not a Tableau expert, I'm a learning Tableau user, okay? And so, but these are all relevant to where the data is mapping out and however we want to reflect that for our users. How many assets are in Design Center, how many times a fragment is imported by an API specification. There's some basic information here to start you off with, but in Tableau itself, so this is what the users see, but in Tableau itself is where we have the data connected, where I can make modifications to this, and then also to choose the data source. If I want to go to a different data source or join these data sources, I can do that here as well. So this gives that flexibility for what we're seeing in a dashboard. So in regards to showing you, now we know we have the application is running. This HTTP request is hitting our MuleSoft app that's running in the runtime. And if I wanted to come to flows here, let me go to another flow that's under construction, because that flow you saw is currently running. It's steadily running every 15 minutes. But I have another one here that's not active. Okay. And so this one is the one that I have for the architects. And as I am working with this in Composer, I can, like for example, this one maybe every 30 days. You've got different criteria that you can choose for the polling. But a really nice feature of Composer is that as I'm working with this one and I like the results of this one, I can in turn take and clone it to change it to a different frequency. So say I want to, instead of having to go back in and reconfigure all of the details of what I have in this flow, I can come back in here and clone this. You're not allowed to fail, but it's live, so it's going to fail. Okay, so it's having a little glitch. Life is normal in demo land. There, it just resolved. It likes to mess with us, So anyway, if I come in here, now this is a clone of that other one. So now I want to say, okay, I'm going to change this. Instead of it being, I want this to be a weekly run. Okay, and change the name of it. So being that you already have it done, it's just simple enough to come in here and run it every 7 days. All of my HTTP details are done for me. I don't have to redo that. And then in the Slack channel, I can come down and change where I'm pointing it to the weekly notification, and change my group. And then the users that are to get this weekly can then be notified that theirs is ready. So you can actually have, once this data is pushed, I will have a different dashboard for the developers, for the ones who are monitoring weekly, and the ones who are also being notified monthly. And then you can also, have it prepped to where you're doing those comparison, like I was saying, in some of the flows, whether that's on the MuleSoft side or whether that is on because I could ultimately have a separate Mule application that's going to modify the data. So we would take this, and now we have the weekly one done. Let's do a test on it. So we'll test this out. And waiting for it, we'll look for it to appear. We should get a notification in this weekly notification here. I have not used, oh yeah, I did test that one out already. So we'll see, test is finished. And it should show up here also, if it's going to behave. Come on. Weekly notification. Yeah, it's going to the right folder. Let's test it. There we go. Now it's behaving. A little bit of a lag. Okay. So we're seeing the messages coming through as a result of that. Now on the On the Slack side, as far as that's concerned, we can do a lot more with this message as well and have more detailed information in there to provide like a time date stamp or anything like that that we would want to include. And ultimately, as we're looking at how we're seeing the process of it running in Studio, from Studio to the Runtime Manager and adding all of that, there are steps along the way that time, I can go over some of those, being we have a little more time to look at some of those steps from here to using it in Salesforce as well. So if you had it where your application was running in, if you use the Composer in Studio, then we would actually be setting up, this is where we set up the Secrets Manager in any point platform. But as we go forward and we look at setting up what we need in Salesforce, we would go first to the MuleSoft services, and we would log in and make that integration connection here. Okay, it's already been done, so what I show you isn't going to be as impressive, but then we would go into the name credentials, we would update the endpoint so that it's pointing to that. And as we continue going, we need to also set up external services. And when we do that, I can show you this in Salesforce. All of those endpoints that are in that metrics toolkit are all reflected here. So it brings all of that information into Salesforce for that purpose. Let me log on to Salesforce because I've actually been using, there's two versions of Composer. There's Composer that's more of a standalone license, and that's what you're seeing me use here. But there's also, and let me log in off camera here, there's also the version that is inside of Salesforce. And this account that I was working with did not have that entitlement. And when I got the new entitlement, it ended up being the entitlement for the external, which is great. I've been asking for that. So it's really pretty neat to end up having that. But here, what I want to show you is the external services and how cool this was. This was just really exciting for me to see this happen. As we have our external services, and I chose the metrics toolkit, what this in turn does is allows you, let's go ahead and see that. There we go. It gives us the view of all of the endpoints in this API. So the one that I am using is the endpoint for the metrics. And so it is bringing in the detailed information that I'm needing. Let me get this to, and so as you see, there's the description, some of the input values that you need that I ended up using here when I was accessing the proxy here. So, as you're setting it up and testing it, as you're going along, test it local, then also test it with the MuleSoft proxy. And now here is where it's actually integrating with Salesforce to have that behind the scenes connectivity happening. And so if I needed to edit some of this, you can come in and do editing on a lot of this, and it shows us, some of the details that are available that you can actually go in and edit some of that if you needed to. Okay, so again, we see the integrations, the underlying integrations that are happening. Okay, so after we conclude that, then of course that's when in most cases you can use Composer here in Salesforce, but this account is not entitled with that. So I couldn't show you Composer here, the results. So that's why I ended up using what I was granted, which is Composer here. Okay. So that's kind of what I've got. Are there any questions or anything that anyone has in regards to how this is working?
I don't see any questions yet.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Well, some of the exciting things that we can see in this dashboard, I do want to cover this because some of the things that we see, we can come in and modify some of this. Um, but in addition to the information that is coming from the metrics toolkit, what I would also like to incorporate is having, um, there is a user count, an inactive user count that we saw, and having that information also available for how many are certified. And if we go to Trailhead Academy, we can, there is a way to check someone's credentials. And they have not got this set up yet for MuleSoft certifications, but I foresee that that's probably coming. And so you can come to the Trailhead Academy and come down to verify certifications and put some information in here. Okay, this piece right here is prime for the robotic part, because the robotic process takes and will interact with a web page. So I'm really excited for MuleSoft certifications also to be housed over here, where we'll be able to check and verify someone's credentials. And oftentimes I've talked to recruiters or even um, lead managers that want to validate someone's certifications, and this is present in many other certification products. I know that several of my other certifications can be validated, so this will be happening, I'm sure, because it's already here for Salesforce. But the robotic process could also come in and check a user off of the platform, check their credentials, and pull them up. So I'm looking for this to happen. I could even do this with some of my Salesforce friends who are certified. So if you are certified in any of the Salesforce certifications and are willing to be part of my demo, let me know, because I want to do the robotic process to check that. And what that robotic process does is it's interacting with the web page and getting the data that we can then in turn add to our dashboard. So very exciting about that. And the other thing too is that, as many of you know, I'm a big proponent of certifications, getting those certifications done. And we're Integration Quest, by the way, is doing some work in that area. So please check out our LinkedIn info on that, because it's very, many times we talk about the importance of being certified versus hands-on experience, and I always reply with both. You need both, because the certification will prove your competency in an area wider than what you might be actually doing on a job. So anyway, so future, where we stand now with this whole process, let me come back to here. Where we stand now with this whole process that I'm doing is creating the whole scheme as we go through to do these dashboards and having them meaningful. I'm going to be picking certain dashboards to update, again, depending on your audience. Your audience is going to determine what you include on that dashboard. The developers are not going to be as interested in certain KPIs as they would be for a stakeholder wanting to see their return of investment. And so as we're working with the various KPIs, there's over 100 KPIs. So pick and choose and use them that allow us to bring this data to life. And Tableau also did an announcement recently of using Data Lake, or using Data Cloud. using Data Cloud. And so when I saw that announcement, again, I'm a learner with Tableau, but I was super excited because I am thinking future of where that's going to go and what that's going to allow us to do. Because one of our dear friends in the MuleSoft community, Monique, he and I were trying to crack a challenge with Tableau, and we conquered it before World Tour demos. Yeah. And so, but it's how Tableau dynamically handles the forms. And so it's a little clunky, personally, will tell you so, but they promised us, and there we were sitting in World Tour, and they were talking about the new features of Tableau, and Monique and I just winked at each other and laughed, because we're like, okay, it better be easier, because it's a little challenging right now. But nonetheless, it was conquered. So that was also a great achievement. And, I share that with you all because we're all learning. We've got special talents in different areas, and your gift or your strengths will complement mine in other areas. So as I like to think that hyper automation is kind of bridging the gap between a lot of different products. We go from one to the other, and even though this particular project isn't hitting every element of what we are teaching in the hyper automation class, it can be, and it will be as it grows. And all the more, what we always want to do is take that academical lesson and turn it into something real that's beneficial to all. And these dashboards are gonna, it's one thing to know things are happening, it's another thing to see how they're happening. And this doesn't take and do a lot of comparison KPIs, and I intend to do that. I intend to also, compare where we were last month, where we are in different, points along the way, and then also a target value that we're after. So if it's projected that we want to hit a certain target, where are we on that scale, so that we can, judge how are we doing. If we're doing not so well, then, we need to, again, do that corrective action to get us back on track. So voila, darling, there you are. That's pretty much how what I had in store. So if anyone has any questions or anything like that, be glad to go over any details.
No, I don't see any questions yet.
Okay. All right. Sounds great. Okay, if I announce a few announcements, and people may know some of this already.
Yeah, for sure.
MuleSoft classes are 50% off right now. Instructor-led classes, 50% off, only till the end of June, July. I got to get the date. Let me see. Let me pull it off screen here, so I'm not sharing a lot of details here. Yeah, so folks, get your classes booked. We want to be sure that you are booking those courses. And also some exciting news. Here it is. Yeah. Check it out. 50% off. There's some details. There's a code. You have to use the code. Let's see if it'll... I think when I go in here, it'll tell me. Hold on. They had it as a banner. There it is. All right. So beginning a few days ago, this is going to run, till July 28th. Okay. So now I have talked to some of my, some of the people who are in training in certain companies, and they have said, well, we're kind of watching our finances. The budget's not going to allow, so let me pop that up a little bit bigger. Here it is here. So they're mentioning, our finances are a little tight this year. Well, talk to them again. I'm going to be working on my end to, get the word out. You work on your end to get the word out that we are, that the instructor-led classes are 50% off. And then also, too, hot news off the press, Integration Quest has a brand new website. We're super excited about that also. And always happy to help you all exceed in your career and your goals. And we are launching our exam, our certification prep courses. So if you'd like to be a part of that, we've got our team. These are instructors, MuleSoft certified instructors So we're really excited about that. Come join us over here and reach out and give us a shout out of where you're at, what you want to do with your career and where you plan to go with that. So these are like hand in hand. What better way are we going to be able to have instructor-led classes at half price, us doing some one-on-one, work with you on passing that exam. It's not just it's a 4-hour session, but we work with you before and we work with you after to build that relationship to help you get certified. So let's do it. Let's do it. But anyway, we'd love to hear your feedback on some of that. We're going to be putting out some on LinkedIn. We'll be putting out some more polls to see, what your interests are on your career. We got some great feedback on some of that already. So, but I throw a challenge out. I have a action challenge for you, a call to action challenge for you. All right. So in studio, we have these other ways of creating dashboards. I need a call to action for Elk and Splunk users. Elk and Splunk users. I want to see the results. I'm working on Tableau. And believe me, I'm learning Tableau. It's taking a lot, but I'm loving it. Alex, have you ever worked with Tableau?
Nope.
Oh, it's so cool. I'm telling you, I've really been impressed. It's a lot of fun. Anybody that likes to see data kind of captured and brought together, it's really pretty neat. But so I'm covering the Tableau side. I need a Splunk and Elk volunteer to be working with this, and we can collaborate and share and get that data out into these other platforms. And let's blast this out. The stakeholders need this. When it comes down to re-upping a license, or if you need more vCores, this is going to be your way to show them, here's what we're doing, here's why we need more vCores if you do, and what you're needing to, it just gives them that information they need right in front to make an educated decision. And so I urge you, every platform account should have this for sure. That will be the hands down, that will assist in making their decisions. So there's my little pitch. So who's game? Anyone that's watching the video later, let me know. Put it in the chat or put it in the comments so that we can collaborate on this, because it'll be fun to continue to build this out.
How are you learning Tableau?
I am learning Tableau through Trailhead Academy. And also, one of the perks of being a MuleSoft ambassadress is we do get to have some of our classes here as well. So I am actually doing the Tableau classes that are in instructor-led. And what's neat about some of them, and actually some of the MuleSoft classes are going to be doing this also, is some of the scheduling of these are like a half day. And that's pretty neat for those of us that do other things too. So I've been going through the career or the growth path of Tableau. And I've done the desktop 1 and 2. And next week I am doing the 3 advanced, and also there's another one of visual analytics. So these have been great classes. The instructors are super nice, and again, like I said, they're half price too. So here's your chance, and you'll find the times are very flexible. Like there's a 2.5 hour class. I grouped my 2.5 hour morning class with a 2.5 hour afternoon class of the 2 different ones. So, and of course, you get access. There's a trial version of Tableau that's a 14-day trial. You can also buy the Tableau Pass on the platform on Trailhead Academy, and that gives you, I believe it's 90 days or a little longer. I think mine is longer than 90 days. And that is another pass that gives you, otherwise you have to redo the 14 days over and over, as a trial account. But there is, in, much, much more than what you're seeing here from those classes. They show you how to do different graphs. I don't think I have.
Someone is asking for the Trailhead URL to learn Tableau, if
Okay,
you can share it.
I sure can. This one's going to drill you down to a particular one. So check this out. This will take you to the Tableau Visual Analytics. But once you go to the Tableau training, let me back up one. See if it's going to let me. No, it's going to go to all of them. Okay, so let me give you this one. This is a higher level one. Once you're here, I'm not logged in, so you should be able to get to this without logging in. That one I just sent. And then go to the product selection. Go to the product selection and come down to Tableau. And then you'll be able to see all of the Tableau classes. And they're pretty much in, or they'll have the one. This is a combination class of accelerating 1 and 2. There's a 1, 2, and 3 desktop. I started with those, and now I'm going to 3, and then the visualize. I like the details of this visual analytics, and basically they show you. Let me bring up one of the examples here. Yeah, this is from the class. So we made these graphs, we looked at these graphs, we took the details of each one and then turned it into a dashboard. So you do all this kind of stuff. It's really very cool. So what I'm showing you in the for the metrics toolkit is just very basic. I intend to incorporate some of the learnings I have had here into the comparing between the two type of thing. So great class. It's been great on that. And then, of course, to drill into the MuleSoft classes, you come here and come down to the MuleSoft, and this will get you, let me unselect Tableau, get you all the MuleSoft classes. And they're on sale. Hyperautomation is on a view more. It's on the next page. But hyperautomation is the one that incorporates everything that I'm mimicking here, or part of what I'm building out through the hyperautomation. And so starting with the platform, so those of us who are very Mule experienced, that's going to be a breeze. Day 1 and day 2, you're going to be flying through the material with them. Then you get into creating flows with Salesforce flows. And so that was like, whoa, okay, this is all new to me. I was like a new student altogether. So after going through this course, I took the Salesforce Flow course. It's a brand new course there also, and creating the complementary flows that go with this to promote the automation. Then we did a Composer to kind of bring all of them together with the robotic process automation that I was telling you about. And that is just very cool. If I have a few minutes, I'll try to log into my robotic process to give you a visual of that. But I may have it on a slide. But at any rate, then we complete out using Einstein Bot, a chat bot popping up, that says, hey, what do you want to do? I'm your bot, so-and-so. I'm going to have fun with that one because I'm going to code it to where it's fun. So when I get to that segment, just wait. I'm going to be having a blast with that one. But the robotic processing, let me see if I can pop into that. I don't know if that I'll have time because I've got to kick up my VM on that. But I'll see if I can launch it while we're chatting. Are there any other questions?
Nope, all good.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Very cool. Let's see. Well, I don't know if I can get it up in time, but because the VM takes a few minutes to bring it up anyway. So I'll conclude there. If we want to wrap, or if you want to hang out just a little bit, I'll see if I can bring up the robotic processing if anybody wanted to see what that looked like. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I guess you can try to bring it up if you want.
Okay. All right. that actually is going to be running in here. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's expired. No. That happened before when I was testing it out yesterday. Darn it.
That's all right.
Yeah. But it's in our other video. Remember?
Yep.
I did share that in our other Twitch TV. So you got to go see that other one. Alex, if you can post that other one later date. I show it there because it's so cool. Because like I said, when I intend to use it to verify certifications, because if you do this, like I know I'm going to come back with no information here, but basically you teach the bot to enter data into a field, and look, I'm not a robot, no. But it won't have any results on the Salesforce side for me, and that's about to change. I'm working on some of that too. But at any rate, when our MuleSoft certifications are moved over here too, we should be able to pull up, and so I want to use this information to also support, because partners need to know that. Partners need to know who's certified. They target a certain number of certified staff, and so that needs to be, we want to capture that information also. The metrics toolkit will capture how many are active and inactive users on the platform, but it doesn't necessarily capture, what their credentials are. So anyway, we're here to help you get those credentials. We're here to help you get those certifications done. And we're pulling together a team of deeply experienced instructors and crazy fun, but also caring. We deeply care about you to get this done. So let's make it a year of being certified. Let's make 2023, make it happen. Now's the time. Now's the time.
Yes.
All righty.
Awesome.
So thank you all so much. Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, so remember, if you want to get 50% off Tableau and MuleSoft instructor-led classes, use the code TABMule50, and it will be available until July 28th. So go check it out.
Yep. And come see us on Integration Quest also. If you'd like to find out more information about our exam preparedness events, come on over.
Yeah.
We'd love to see you there. Mm-hmm.
And a friendly reminder to everyone watching from whatever that is not Twitch, you can follow us in twitch.tv/MuleSoft_community, because there you can find all of our previous recordings, our schedule for the future live streams, and you can also get notifications as soon as we come live, so you never miss us. So go ahead and follow us on twitch.tv. Alrighty. I guess that's all for now. Thank you so much, Diane, Digital D.
My pleasure. Yes.
Really appreciate it.
Always fun to hang out with you, Alex. And those of you who are interested in being a part of this program too, Alex is great, a wonderful host. She always has been. She's always fun. She makes it easy. So thanks, Alex, for being here for us. And thanks for all that you do in the MuleSoft community, as well as MuleSoft corporate. So we appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Alrighty, then that's all for today, and I will see you on Tuesday 27. Alrighty, bye-bye.